before they get warm? All right, passing it around. All right, well, I'm just going to...
Okay. On a fair warning, I'm a very casual person, and I don't like to do the typical slides and meetups and things, but I thought I'd try out something different if everyone's okay with that. If you have questions at any point, please feel free to ask me. I don't like Q&A time. There's always that awkward silence at the end where it's just like, well, I guess I'm done now. And before I get started, who here is a developer? Raise your hand.
Well, we all are.
Good. Excellent. That's more than usual, so this is really impressive. Who here is familiar? Who here is familiar with MetaMask? Ooh, makes my heart all warm. And who here has worked with MetaMask in their applications? Okay. We'll focus more on that. I didn't know what I was going to talk about till just now, but thank you for letting me know. MetaMask is a Chrome extension. I'm going to sit, so you were all sitting. And we're just going to go through what it looks like as an end user to download MetaMask. So if we go here, let's see. And is everyone familiar with Maker? I wonder if I can. Always forget their website. Now, you've probably seen this before, but Maker Market relies on Web3 in order to connect to the blockchain. And as you can see, it says install MetaMask or use Mist. I think Mist is doing a great job. I think it's really difficult to build a browser, but I don't keep my notes safe. And I'm probably a million blocks behind right now. So we're just going to go see where this takes us. They have it set up to our website. If we went and downloaded the extension, and this is for people who are not familiar with MetaMask. I'm sorry if I haven't clarified that. We can add it to Chrome. And for those of you who build dApps, I'm sure or have any sort of mistrust in internet security, this looks really frightening, but let me tell you, everything's okay. All we do is inject Web3, I swear to God. So let's go ahead and add the extension. Excellent. We'll pop up on this website. Now, of course, MakerDAO has us go to the website anyways, but just in case you missed the note, we've got a little bit how it works. And as you can see, MetaMask is in my top right corner. And then you'll go to Terms and Agreements. We'll slide down. And this is a lot simpler than maybe going and syncing your node, in my opinion. So I like it. And then, you can figure out my password from all the things. But of course, that doesn't really matter because there's my seed phrase. I'm going to go ahead and copy that somewhere safe. And now I have this account. We are in beta, so we start out on the testnet. And if you are building a Dapp, you probably want to let your end users know that that is the case, because I have help desk sometimes, and I do get a lot of emails of people being like, I sent my account Ether, where is it? And then I always respond with, have you changed the network in the top left corner, and then never hear a response back. So my assumption is no, they did not try to check mainnet, which is right here. And then you can actually go back, you can reload, and voila, Maker. They're great. Those guys are awesome. They do good work. But I'm sure you're wondering how this all happens. Now, I can do this one of two ways. We can actually go look at the code, or I can show you right here in the terminal. This is my favorite part. This makes me so happy every time. In fact, let's make it even easier to look at. Can you guys see that? Excellent. So as you see up here, it says MetaMask injected Web3. I don't know what this is. It looks like something of theirs. But if we actually check, we do have access to Web3. We can do Web3.eth. Oops. this is important. Doing this allows you to wait for Web3 to be injected before actually trying to use it, which is important. And in about 16 lines of code, you have access to Web3. We do also recommend that you require in your own version of Web3 if we update our version of Web3. And who's here is familiar with Web3? Oh, good. Oh, so
I'm
great.
not. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so Web3 is a API standard, RPC API standard. We can actually go take a look at this. Here, let's do GitHub. Again, sorry, not really a formal meetup person. Hope everyone's doing okay. Let's get rid of all that. So Web3, JavaScript Dapp API. I come here a lot. So it's a module that you can require, and you get a RPC provider, and then what it does is it makes calls to a node. So MetaMask uses Infura, so you can get a provider from MetaMask and then put it in your own Web3 and use it that way. What are you doing?
I'm taking a picture. For your mom.
My aunt, everybody. Thank you for that.
Sorry for the
If
distraction.
the beer didn't make me red, you sure did. Okay, so Web3 allows you to make calls similar to what you would do with an API, or any sort of like object in JavaScript.
If people don't understand stuff, they can shout. So, for example, Infura. So a lot of people might not know what Infura is.
Yes, Infura is our trusted node. So, as you've noticed, MetaMask doesn't require this node. And what we do is we use a trusted node called Infura, and they are within consensus, and we're kind of created for us. We're right now, I think, putting like 100 million RPC requests per day on that. Those are mainly block lookups. It's really intense. That will eventually lead me to my future point. And but really, what we're concerned for is the ease of use for the end user. All we want to do is just make it easy for people to use it. Now, of course, we're like still beta, and part of the reason for being beta is not only like we're not ready to receive, and we're ready to receive end users, but we're still really young, not only the ecosystem, but MetaMask itself. So as long as we continue the design of like we want to be ready for end users, then we hopefully will have this big design pattern. That being said, you can, if you don't trust Infura, which they're a bunch of great guys, we talk a lot with them, you can put in localhost 85405 or a custom RPC. Is anyone confused yet?
Me. But if no one else is, I'll just ask you later. But what's the difference? What are those two last hosts?
So you can run that locally. So if I
Okay.
if I went to this is the biggest fear, and sorry the font, guys.
It's awesome.
I'm slightly dyslexic, so this is a dyslexic font. Now if I go here,
Really good question.
Thank you.
I just do this. Let's see if it goes. It might not go. Ooh, you gonna go? So this is what the blockchain looks like, sort of.
Wow.
And this is really this is one version of it. This is like unfair to expect you to do this at home, because not only do you have to open this window,
Right.
which most people don't know how to do, but you have to go and download parity, which most people will not know how to do, or even like to look for it. Or it's like, and also I get sketchy just downloading things off the internet. I can't even imagine like you're like, oh, I have to open this strange window and I have to like type in these things, and like the little voices in the back of my head say that most people don't like that. Now, we kind of, it's one step back, 2 steps forward, because some people, some of the advanced people don't want to like necessarily have, like it's kind of silly to be connected to a trusted node in a community that believes you can't trust anyone.
So that's why they would use localhost.
That's why they would use localhost.
Okay.
So the options there are like main, network, roster, and covert.
Yes.
They were all at ETHEREUM or at consensus.
Yes, they are all hosted by ETHEREUM.
Okay.
It is really nice though having direct communication with them all the time, because if we ever have an issue with the network. Also, I don't know how many of you guys hang out in our Slack channel. We're super chatty. We like people. But like we had a little bit of an issue over the weekend, and mainnet was I think like 800 blocks behind or something like that. And someone came on the Slack and was like, my balance is showing incorrectly and things like that. And we immediately were able to get a hold of the bureau and just be like, hey, are you behind? Is there something going on? Is there like someone DDoSing? All these other things, and it's just nice to have that sort of communication with that team. So we like to think that it's fairly reliable. Let's see here. I'm going to switch. So as far as MetaMask goes, if you're an end user, you'll come on and you see, and I showed you that we have Web3 and all that jazz. Look, I've got some Ether. We do auto faucet for test Ether if you're wondering where to get it. You can always go here. Whoop. Ta-da. We have this sweet little test faucet. Now, if you were on mainnet, and unfortunately, this doesn't work here. But if you are on mainnet, and you're like, oh, I'm a new user, where do I go get Ether? We have this handy dandy buy button, and within the next I want to say 2 weeks, we'll be adding support for Euro Exchange. But right now, we only have Coinbase, which is unfortunately for you guys not available outside the US. I'm sorry, but soon. Soon. And if you were in the US, you would hit this button, and it would take you here, and it's just like, buy Bitcoin. I'm going to pretend like you guys aren't going to steal my email address for any reason, but it's probably really obvious. Anyways, and then you would go, and Coinbase is a pretty high KYC. I think they do right now without
KYC, explain.
Know your customer. I think right now without confirming that you're a real human being, you can do about, or like by just doing your email, you can buy for $750, like US dollars per week a user, which is really cool for US people. And then I have been speaking with Biddy the past week or 2 or months. Time is irrelevant. We'll come back to that one later. And we will have it in the next 2 weeks. And I think their KYC is $4,000 per year with just their phone number. So hopefully you guys have that to look forward to.
Which party was it?
Biddy. Yeah, Biddy's really cool. They're actually they're very interesting. I like them. They seem to be chill people. But this is Biddy. If you guys were wondering where to go buy Ether for this side of the world, we try to do our best. As you can tell, like all of these things are still a very new market, so it's when we have an option, we like to go investigate a little more. Unfortunately, we have very few options for fiat exchange. So if you guys know anyone who's doing any work, please let me know.
Do what kind of work?
Fiat to ETH exchange. So like, we'll come back to that. I'll talk to you.
You know the cars? Not that kind.
So yeah, in a couple lines of code, you can be compatible with MetaMask, and your Dapp can run in Chrome. As far as the future, we are planning to do, oh, that's right, down. I will get used to slides eventually. We're doing a UI overhaul, so if you see MetaMask change, it's because of that. That will probably happen in 2 months. Don't worry, someone didn't hack, your browser to just change things up. We are looking into doing a light client. We've been partnering with IPFS to do a light client in the browser. As I mentioned earlier, 100 million RPC requests per day is quite a bit. And that's mainly just block lookups and addresses and nonces and things like that. And then we have a couple other projects in the works. I just recommend that you keep an eye out for any sort of news that we're going to release. As far as the team, I work with 3 other guys. They're really awesome. Their names are Kamadas, Dan, and Kevin. And we all love talking to people. So if you ever have any questions or also bug reports, come hop over to our Slack or our GitHub page, which is right here. And as you can see, we have a sweet stack of issues. But we're fairly open and receptive to any sort of feedback. And in fact, we are looking for any feedback that you have. If you have anything that you'd like to see in MetaMask, I know ERC20 tokens. We give them a lot. It's coming.
Okay. Does everyone know what ERC20 tokens are? Maybe you can.
Oh yeah, does anyone here not know what ERC20 is? Okay. So, there is a standard, and it's a token contract, and this can mean a lot of things. I don't write a lot of contracts, so I always get a little stuck on this. Let's see here. Oh no! Okay. I mean, I remember the website name. It's been a while. Okay. I don't have it. Does anyone know the URL for Token Factory?
It's tokenfactory.search.sh.
Thank you. I'm going to spell this wrong for sure. I already know.
Search is SURG.
See? It's always something. Sweet. This is Token Factory. This is built by a really cool dude named Simon. He lives in South Africa. He's pretty sweet. He shares with internet.
Can you all understand Frankie now? Because do people?
You need to.
Okay, so tokens are, so this page here. We can come and create tokens on the blockchain. And I think that I am going to create a token called, let's do, how many people are here? I'm gonna say
55.
55.
About 55.
Okay. Let's do 55 tokens, and then we can call them. Oh gosh. Okay. Forgive me. You know this one.
0.
0? There we go. Create token. I did this last time too. I hit enter and I was like, why? I do. So, tokens are a contract that you create, and they can be a lot of things. They can be votes, they can be, my favorite I think is Nick Johnson did a little experiment a while ago called beer token, which has no value except for how much a beer is. And you give them to your friends, and they're like, oh cool, now I can give this back to you, or like buy a beer from you with this, and you're like, oh, okay, I wanted that beer though. But I just created some tokens, and I have a supply of 55, and what I can do is I can now transfer to another account. So this contract has these very basic things. transfer, check balance, check allowance, all these things indicating address. I'm going to keep that for me later. And to here, I wish that we could easily connect and chat with each other so someone could give me their address other than myself, but that's fine. One day, all problems will be solved.
I was just pitching status.
Oh no, I know. I was throwing this out to you.
So we can all come to Frankie and get an Amsterdam coin.
Yeah. So later, you can come to me and get an Amsterdam coin. Any questions?
Wait, so you're saying you don't yet have support for arbitrary tokens in MetaMask,
but we
it's
will.
coming?
Yes. After our UI design. Part of the problem with the token thing is that like it is a UI design. It's just like this window is very small, how do you keep interacting with tokens simple? And then, there were like a ton of other things that happened in between now and then, like meeting up with IPFS and trying to build a client. So a lot of it is that, and a lot of it is like, we are a small team and we are constantly trying to do our best to like maintain this and make sure that everyone is happy.
What about other contracts? I mean, contracts which are has a published API.
Mm-hmm. Do we plan it?
Somehow,
Yes. That is in the plans and the designs of like being able to interact with other contracts. For now, what we've been doing is pointing people to wallet.ethereum. What is it? I'm glad you guys all get to see my history. This is my favorite part of things connected together. So they have like, we may try to borrow from some of their design schemes, which is like if in their contracts you can like add any contract blockchain token, and this is really cool. And it is also very difficult to pull off in such a tiny view. As you can see, they have like a lot more space and capture like wash.
The Amsterdam token.
Yes, I think the way that one works is here.
So you can only do this if you know the exact name. There's no way to search for all the tokens that there are.
It's really difficult to search the blockchain for contracts because it's just like, so without knowing the API.
Here's an opportunity.
Actually, I think you are right. I think that's going to be much better. Cool. Token contract address. Token name.
Is that on purpose that it's difficult to search, or is that part of the privacy of it, or is that something that's coming?
It's a consequence of
But no one is making it easy for you.
Yeah.
It's work.
Okay.
Somebody has to index everything.
But it's not on purpose then.
No, it's
It wasn't not on purpose. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
Just a shit on the data, and
Yeah.
how are you going to get the nuggets out of that?
I don't know. It's like,
But I thought there are some logs, and logs can be searched very quickly, like some
Logs.
stored.
Yeah.
logs,
This is true. I believe if you know the logs really well. So like, we can search for things that we know exist.
Of course, yeah.
But if you don't know its existence, then how do you search?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, for now we've been pointing people here if they want to check their token balance. But we are trying to figure out a good way to like display tokens. Obviously, like some things can be curated, and you can just like, oh, this is a new contract, which is added into the UI. But the interaction of tokens in general is a complicated one and should be thought out and considered. Especially when something that can have like such a variant meaning, right? Because like you can have voting tokens or something like that.
you could have what?
Voting tokens. Something that has like such a diverse, I should use that word, meaning can be hard to display. Especially now that the token space has gotten so complicated. And I was actually I was diving in at Gnosis just launched, and was kind of trying to look at how they do their things, and they have some like master token and all the things. And I don't know. Martin is a brilliant man. And anyways, I'm getting off topic. Is there any other questions? Did I miss anything? Yes.
Are you talking with any browsers to integrate it in the browser directly?
What do you mean by that? Like,
you have a beautiful red fox as a thing, so are you talking with, for example, Mozilla to not even install a plugin to be able to use it?
Yeah, so we do have a project that we're working on that would make that flow better, and so that you don't actually have to install anything, but it is far away from complete. As far as Mozilla goes, if you have not noticed, we are not in the Firefox store, so Mozilla still hand sorts everything. And the first time we went around for application, they were like, our file size was too big, and it just takes more time because it's not automated. It's humans. Anyways. But yeah, there is some research being done into like how to make this even easier. But it's not ready yet. So sorry for getting nervous.
Are you guys planning on a mobile version?
That is a question on everyone's mind. It is not our first priority.
Maybe there are other people who are talking about mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one more question. You said you're working on a light client version with IPFS.
Yes.
And like, what does IPFS have to do with it? And is this the same light client protocol that the Geth team is working with, or is this completely separate?
So the Geth team is working with a protocol, or their light client relies on something that we don't have in the browser. So they're like, we are limited to what the browser can give us. And so we have to build a light client in order to WebRTC. So, did I say that right? I think I did.
So the light line support, then you would not use any of the nodes, but
we will have a bridge node. So we will still have to have a form of trusted node.
okay.
But it would be less reliant on that. And IPFS, the reason why is because they are helping us with their P2P work that they do. So we are working with them in order to, because they're smart people, first of all. And it's a lot easier to work with people who are already working on something similar, not similar necessarily, but like the work that would need to be done to build a light client, which is a lot of work, is being done for us.
Maybe just to, because Aaron is one of the developers of Swarm, which is an alternative to IPFS.
Oh yes.
So if you have a question about Swarm, then Aaron is the person to.
That's not why I asked this, but thank you.
I think MetaMask was the first one, right? The browser integration, and now you have the Parity extension as well. But you still need to run the full node, like on your PC. But like, let's say they brought something out like this, like similar to this. Then what is like in the pipeline for MetaMask for next things to do? Like, do you guys think about that?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we just went and looked at Parity. One of us went and looked at Parity a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, it was not me, so I can't speak too much on Parity's perspective. We are really going for the ease of use, and we're hoping that that is enough or something. I don't know. But I think they have. I don't think we're worried about it too much.
It's not about worry, just like what are there like next steps to take for you guys? No.
Okay. I guess I can show you. I wasn't going to show anyone, but that's okay.
We won't show anybody.
Okay. Except for the...
All right.
the phone.
Spread it out.
Ignore this. Wait, what? Where am I? Oh. Of course. Hopefully, I did ask for permission just in case I had to do this, but so this is what we're working on right now, and let's see if it works. This is MetaMask. This is a Dapp. Okay. This might be the wrong Dapp. Let's try out MetaMask. This is still MetaMask. As you can notice, there's no extension at the top right corner, and this is MetaMask. Cool. So, this is a very poor explanation as to what we're going to be doing, but that's what we're doing.
And so you allow it to be more deeply integrated into dApps, kind of?
Yeah.
And also then stylable by the dApps?
No. So the image, or the view of MetaMask is MetaMask, or like MetaMask as an image is trusted, right? You trust that it's MetaMask. I mean, part of the extension and having the pop-ups and things like that is like, I know this is MetaMask, and I know this is MetaMask. MetaMask is like, you know, sandboxed away from the Dapp, and the Dapp doesn't have my private keys. In fact, do any of you think that MetaMask stores private keys on a server? Let me correct you now, we don't. And I get this question every once in a while, and every time I'm just like, oh. No. We don't store your private keys on the server. Do you understand how much? We have an entire team running a node because we don't want to. It's lazy. We just want to write code. We don't have to worry about like maintaining a server. So yeah, we kind of think of it as like MetaMask is trusted, and therefore we should not allow dApps to kind of customize the way it uses it. Okay. If that's fair.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, the original MetaMask, as it was thought of by Kumatis, was just a website.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're actually going back to your roots.
Sort of. But we don't have a second URL.
Oh, okay.
So like, we asked, instead of like, because that was, yeah, I was not working with him at the time, but I would seen the videos. And like, to my understanding, that was a lot of work. And also, like all these other complicated things, it was like building a browser inside a browser, and that seems really silly, so why do that when you can just inject things? But it's similar. But instead of going back to his original idea, we are moving forward with how the extension order is. And just taking away the elements of that. Okay.
I have one question. I was wondering what your business model is. How do you pay for all those inferior requests?
So, if you speak up, the question is business model, right?
Yes, sorry.
Hello, my name is Frankie. I work for MetaMask, and we are an open source product. And we currently have no business. That's a good. Oh, you know what? I'm okay. I actually don't. Okay. It's status I am, and MetaMask dev. Sweet. Good going, calendar. So that's a great question. We get asked that a lot right now. We don't have a public business plan because we're not really focusing on a business plan. I mean, we're umbrelled under consensus. They like our work and what we do, and we're enriching the ecosystem in theory. And like, you know, we have a bunch of users, and we're also trying to like contribute to the community and like give back a little bit. And in theory, like us doing what we're good at helps further the Ethereum ecosystem. So
you're forced to use parity then.
Hmm?
You're forced to use parity then.
Forced to use parity.
No. That's made by consensus, right?
No, parity by Parity, I don't know what he's calling himself.
Wow.
F4.
Oh,
I heard they
Parity
just,
Technologies now.
thank you.
Okay. Misplaced joke.
Yeah. We actually don't do a client.
I have a question. You mentioned light client for the future, but then you also mentioned IPFS at the same time. So you're not using the light client protocol for that? How does that work?
I'm not focusing too much on it. So Aaron or Kumadas, whoever, you know,
Yeah.
can buy talk to the guys at IPFS about the block structure
Okay.
in Ethereum. and
Also,
they're-
IPFS be holding state of the blockchain.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they will use their system in order to, I don't know too much about it.
Okay.
We hung out with them for a whole week in Seattle and built a bunch of cool stuff, and we did a little hackathon. Anyone noticed that? But other than that, I don't participate. As you saw, like Mascara is something that I've been working on personally, and Aaron's more on the light client, and we have Dan and Kevin on UI stuff, and then everybody trades every once in a while, and we all do everything except for the light client isn't quite ready yet, and I don't know when. I haven't been keeping close tabs on that, so I don't know when that one will be ready to be like worked on more thoroughly. Yes, in the back.
Hey, sorry for the question. I hope you're okay with it. I'm wondering how many users you have and what's your goal?
We're about 700 shy from 15,000 users.
How do you measure the number of users?
We use Chrome. They tell us unique downloads. You can actually go look at the number on the Chrome web store.
Oh, so those are the total amount of people downloading the session.
Yeah, unique people. So it won't like.
Do you have any statistics on active users?
No, we assume that we would break the trust of the people who use us if we did analytics. In the future, we may do some sort of optional form thing, but why do? We're pretty grassroots, and we're all kind of insane, so we recognize the insanity, and we want to respect other people's insanity for it. So, yeah, we don't really do analytics unless we want to. Yes?
So, the MyEther wallet, I read they have a lot of issues with fake websites and fake loans. Do you see the same for MetaMask, like fake extensions trying to scam people?
We did see one phishing on our thing, on Ethereum Reddit subreddit, but that was caught really quickly. We're very grateful to the community for being able to point those out when they were obviously phishing. But other than that, no, we haven't seen too much. Occasionally we'll get some weird emails here and there from people being like, hey, you thinking of selling in a weirdly sketchy way, but. Oh, one time somebody did fork us and then redid the UI, and that looked weird, but I haven't seen anything about that since.
So, but the attack thing you talked about was just people showing a fake pop-up or something to
I'm sorry, what?
So what was the problem then with
the Reddit one?
Yeah.
Oh, someone had posted that this is the new update of MetaMask or something like that, and this is the new version of MetaMask, and it took them to a GitHub page that wasn't our page.
Okay. So what would happen actually if there's a website which shows kind of a pop-up in the corner and you fill in your password over there? It's do you lose
if there was
anything?
another pop-up, that would be an issue, but they also wouldn't have access to your private keys, right? So the private keys are inside the extension. So in order to do that, you would have to be able to get into the extension.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll trick you into typing the whole phrase.
Yeah, or and if you did that, that would be so out of the norm for what you're usually expected to do in MetaMask that I hope you would notice that.
Yeah.
If not, it's understandable. I sometimes forget English, and I only know English. So. But we are hoping that our users notice significant changes where they expect to put in their seed phrase, even though they've been logging in and it's fine, or and if they have to re-enter their seed phrase into some other window that isn't MetaMask, I would hope that we know.
Don't overestimate users.
I was going to say.
Yeah, oh, and I understand that, but at that point, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's not much you can do, yeah.
Yeah, we just can't, like, we're like, we put up warnings and like all these other things. We even have like, you know, when we try to do really well about what we tell users not to do, or like when things get sort of dangerous. But yeah, at some point it's just like we can't hold everyone's hand all the way down the street or whatever. Anyone else have any questions? I feel like I've been talking a long time.
So working with MetaMask, I always find it a bit annoying when you change browser tag that pop-up completely disappears when you get back.
When you change browser, I'm sorry.
Browser
When
tabs.
you change the browser tab, so you go to a different browser tab.
Oh yeah, and it closes.
Is that by design or is it something?
That's a limitation from Chrome,
Okay.
unfortunately. Yes.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I understood it correctly, but the extension is exposing the user account to every single website, right?
Your public address.
Sorry?
Your public address, yes.
But then does it mean that this creates opportunity for tracking? User tracking?
Yeah, this is a discussion that comes up quite often. Yes, it does. And we are like currently we're debating on like whether or not to lock your account, or like not put the public address in every page, and how to do that, and like what's the best way to go about that. I think one solution that we've come up with is just requiring you to unlock on every page. Another solution is to have you set trusted addresses. That makes me slightly nervous only because of parent control, but like I don't think that really matters right now.
Yeah, well, you mentioned about analytics, but this creates a lot of opportunities for actually tracking people across websites.
Yeah, and if you lock your account though, you can't get access to the address as well. So if you like keep your account locked, and if you're that concerned about, I personally am not concerned about it, but I have many accounts and many addresses, and you know, I never really use the ones that I care about inside MetaMask. But at the same time, I understand like the paranoia being watched or like being tracked. And if you are that concerned, then like I do recommend locking your account. But also, that is something that we like are talking about and are looking to fix in some way or another.
We've thought about this in stages as well, and so we like have an HD sort of key, and off our sort of sub-account route, we're planning to generate new addresses for every sort of Dapp or every context. So at least it's a new address for every.
Does the user know that it's a new address every time?
At the moment, it's not implemented, but essentially, if the user wants to start using that, then they'll automatically transfer value into that particular address and then continue, or they can opt in to use their main account.
Interesting. We are not considered. We are planning on implementing Newport into MetaMask. So that would be a situation in which that would not be viable.
Right.
It's like generating a ton of Newport accounts or something like, oh yeah. But yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, that would have been my question. You generate accounts deterministically from the seed phrase. Nothing will prevent you from generating a new account for every website, or even making the website URL be some kind of input. Like your seed phrase plus the website URL generates the account, so you can have
So you
one
can
account
generate
for
that
every
account.
website automatically.
That's a cool one. I like that. I'm going to put that in our issue track, or issues, so that we can have a little.
This sounds like something for the break. So
Tell me more.
unless people have a last urgent question for Frankie, no, then I think I just mentioned that we are hosted by a blockchain workspace, and that Bas is going to tell something about blockchain workspace, and then I have to leave the call. So here's Bas.
Thank you everyone for participating in my social experiment. Loosely architect talk.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to A-Lab. Just to explain a little bit of where you are. A-Lab is an old shell building if you walk through the building, this used to be an experimental building for fuel and petroleum experiments. Everywhere here are fire extinguishers, etc. So it's a building that has been repurposed now into a breeding ground.